Okay, so here we are. I'm trying something a little bit different today. I am going to be preparing for some interviews, and the interviewer recommended um, I use or my recruiter recommended that I use CoderPad, um, and I've got a different setup. I'm in Firefox today. One moment. I wonder if I can pause this. Okay, I just wanted to make sure that I had my Bandicam timer visible, which it is now. So we have a new environment here. We're going to be writing our code in CoderPad. Um, we're going to intentionally try not to run, since we won't be able to run the code during the interview. And we're going to try to solve LeetCode problems. We have to get to the point where we're solving one medium LeetCode question in 15 minutes, and I'm not anywhere near there yet. I can oftentimes I'll be able to solve an easy in half an hour, so I'm gonna have to go 4 times faster. Roughly. But here we are. Hopefully practice makes perfect, or practice meets the standard, and certainly practice makes better. Alright, let's see what we have here. Without further ado, let's take a look at our LeetCode problem and see what we have. Ooh, I noticed right away it's a tricky one. There's a lot of downvotes compared to the number of upvotes for an easy problem. So we're going to have to figure out what we need to do. Bearing in mind that we're forbidden from running until we are ready to submit our solution, and we must write test cases as well for our solution. So, without further ado, let's see what we have here. We can comment this out. Looks like we're iterating a variable I, integer I, over the integer range 1 through 5. And we're just printing hello world. We don't need to do any of that. But because this is a whiteboard problem, we need to make our whiteboard, which I like to do as comment blocks. Our solution is called Palindrome, and the input is x of type non-nullable integer. It returns a boolean, which I'm assuming is if the number is a palindrome or not. We'll do a return false for now, just so it has a return value. I don't know why I do that, I just kind of do. And then we will set up some test cases. And having done a number of palindromes before, it should be pretty straightforward what the problem description is. But for good practice, let's read what our input is, and we will we'll talk about what our constraints are, just to be thorough. So, here we are, 5 minutes in. Given an integer x, return true if x is a palindrome integer. An integer is a palindrome when it reads the same backward as forward. For example, 121 is palindrome, while 123 is not. For example 1, input x equals 121, output is true. For example 2, input x equals minus 121, the output is false. And from left to right, it reads minus 121. From right to left, it becomes 121 minus. Therefore, it is not a palindrome. Oh, here's another interesting case. 1, 0 reads 0, 1 from left to right. Okay, interesting. So, one zero reads as 0, 1, which should come back to bite us if read 005, for example. Okay, so let's talk about what we need to do here. Hypothesis. If x is less than 0, return false. Is there any case where a negative number can be a palindrome? Looks like our constraints are we are a 32-bit integer. That's important to know too. Oh, ho, 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 ho. Oh, we got an overflow case because we could do 2,000,000,009 and if it was reversed, we would overflow. Interesting. But we don't really need to worry about that because we are going to cast our integer to string. So step 1, integer to string. You know what? We don't even need to worry about the negative case either. Because we can just have our minus 5005 or whatever, and this is our string, and we can just do 2 pointers. L and R, and then we can do, just thinking in pseudocode here, while L is less than R, L plus plus, R minus minus, okay, cool. And then we can set up our variable L, a variable L, as 0, and variable R as x length minus 1, so that we start at the rightmost character of our string. Okay, so if x if position L of string x is not equal to position R of string x, return false. Otherwise, we go through and then we return true. Okay, so in pseudocode we have almost everything that we need. Is palindrome. Okay, so we have our function is palindrome. It will return type boolean. As we did in our whiteboard, we will instantiate, or we will declare a variable L as 0 and a variable R as x length minus 1. Okay, now while L is less than R, we will test if x, if the character at position L of string x is not equal to the character at position R of string x, we return false. And then, to make sure we don't get stuck in an infinite loop, we will increase L by 1. We will increment L by 1 and we will decrement R by 1. And if we wanted to play code golf, which sure, we'll do that just because we're practicing. We can decrement L and increment R after evaluating it. Okay, so we will return true. Oh, you know what? Ha! We never converted x to string. Value s equals x to string. Now we'll go through the code and replace all the x's with s's. S length minus 1, that is a bug. S of L, S of R++, return false. Okay. So this question is just about as easy as easy gets. What are our edge cases? We can have as long or as short of a number as we want. And this palindrome will work. We're not going to overflow because we're turning our integer s into a string. We should have asked clarifying questions. Okay, I should write that down. So we forgot to do that. We did remember to do our test cases. Let's go through and make sure we don't have any bugs. Value s is equal to x2 string. So now we have s. Variable L is equal to 0. Variable R is equal to s length minus 1. While L is less than R, so the two pointers will get closer to the middle until they're no longer different. In which case, we will return we will end the while loop and then return true. Okay, so cool. Briefly, let's talk about time complexity and space complexity. This solution is big O of the n time complexity and big O of constant space. Since we have a no, it's not. It is dependent on the size of S, but it can be no more than the maximum integer length. So technically it's O of n, kind of, but it's not going to be more than 10 characters, so we can kind of say it's constant. Let's see. Where is this going to break? I don't see any of this breaking. Okay, cool. Let us execute this code and submit it. Okay. Seems trivial. We took a long time to do it. We're going to see if we have any compiler errors. We're going to copy and paste, execute the LeetCode. Oh, hello. Yeah, we got a bug. When I was trying to be cute, with the post operation, and then I failed to realize that I typed in the wrong thing for R and L. Oh, and I made another mistake. Let's run our test cases. Let's run -1. I think we can submit this. Okay. Dead even. Of course. Palindrome linked list is next. That's interesting. We'll stop this recording right now, and then we will try it again without converting it to a string.